Hey everybody, it's Stacie Duffy here, your Denver Metro real estate resource. And today I wanted to answer the question of, should I sell my house or do I keep it and rent it out? So I've been getting this question a lot lately, especially just given my current client load and where they're at financially. And when you get to the point where you have the income to justify keeping both houses. So you qualify for to buy a lot more than you need to buy, right? So a lot of times this is somebody making, $150,000, $300,000 a year for the household income, but they, really only need a 3 or 4 bedroom house. They don't need some $1 million mansion or something like that. And you can qualify to keep both houses if you want to. So pretty much everybody that knows me knows I am a huge fan of owning rental property. And just owning real estate in general, because especially looking at the appreciation rates here in Denver over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it's been nuts. Like a better investment return on your investment, especially your cash investment with low rates where you can borrow money really cheap and you can make money as far as a higher appreciation rate and higher return on that money than you can borrow it for. So I'm a huge proponent of that. Most of the time when my clients say, hey, I'm thinking about maybe keeping it and renting it out, I get all excited. I know a lot of realtors don't like that because then they don't get to sell the house, they don't get to sell the money, make the money. That's not my goal. My goal is to help people find what's going to be the best fit for them. And if someone is looking to get into being an investor or owning rental property, or hey, I don't have to sell this house and I know it's really hard to rent things right now, so maybe that's a good idea. I'm a huge proponent of that. Now, usually my questions are, I did have one client recently where I said, you know what, given what you're telling me when I asked them some questions, I don't think you should keep this and rent it out. I think you should sell it. That's only come up a couple of times, but a lot of this comes down to why you're doing it, right? Most of my clients and the people that ask me this question are in the, well, I'm curious about it. I mean, I don't really know what to do and I feel a little uneasy and I'm uncomfortable because I don't know how to do it, but I like the idea, right? I either need the tax write-off, which is a huge benefit for a lot of people. I like the idea of having a little bit of passive income and diversifying my income streams. I know that real estate has been appreciating rapidly and I feel like it'd be kind of dumb to sell it because I know the value is probably going to go up long term. Or I want to get into investing and I don't know where to start, but this seems like an easy place. If I'm going to buy something else, I just keep the old one. Or something along those lines. That's usually where people are at and kind of what's going on in their head when they're asking me this question. I have had somebody say, well, we feel like we should keep it and rent it because one, it gives us options, living situation, maybe our family wants to move and we want to have a place for them to live. Or we need the extra income to go buy something else. We need an extra $400 a month of income to go buy something else. For them, I said, guys, they're not fans of being landlords. They don't like renting, but they also don't want, to, ideologically, it was not a good fit for them. It was a nice way to say that. So, and that's fine. It's not a good fit for everybody. But if you're looking to say, hey, if I get an extra $200 a month, I can qualify to go buy more house. Chances are if you can sell that place and take the cash and put that towards your down payment or do some other investment that's going to give you a better return on the money or something, that's going to be a better use for you. So the other big thing comes down to whether you want to self-manage or whether you want to hire management. So if you are local to your investment property and, maybe it's half an hour, I would say no more than an hour away. That's even pushing it for me personally. But depending on the type of property, if you are local to your property, you don't mind getting calls when things are broken, you maybe are the person or the type of person that wants to make sure you fix things yourself. You don't like other people working on your house. You don't hire plumbers. You don't hire handymen. You do everything yourself. And you want to control the tenants that go in. You want to have as much control as possible. If you're a very controlling particular type person and you can handle going through tenant screening and everything like that and handle phone calls when things don't go right, then great. Self-manage, know what you're getting into, understand how to do some background screening, understand law as far as what you can and can't screen and questions you can ask and Make sure you don't get yourself in trouble there. Take a few classes from property management companies that host them, or take some classes online or something like that. But self-managing can definitely save you a lot of money in that. Personally, right now, I self-manage our rental property, which was the house that we decided not to sell when we moved. That was an easy way for my husband to get into rentals. He was never a big fan of the idea, so buying something just for the purpose of renting it out always made him a little uncomfortable. This, we knew the house, we knew what could possibly go wrong with it. We said, hey, it's probably going to need an AC unit in the next 4 or 5 years. We know that everything else is buttoned up. We know the house. It was one big question mark that we could take off the plate for him that made him more comfortable. So right now I self-manage that. Knock on wood, I've gotten really lucky. I've done really well for that, but we haven't had it that long. So self-managing does come with its other, pros and cons. Now, I don't think self-managing makes sense, and I think you should probably hire a management company if you are moving out of state. If you are, an hour plus away, maybe 30 minutes plus away, you can't go over there when something needs to be taken care of right away. If you are not a handy person, or you don't have a good list of, plumbers, handyman, electricians, all that HVAC people, if you don't have a list of people, or you don't have the ability to get access to those people. So in some markets, like I'll tell you, I grew up in DFW area in Texas, in Dallas. And if I needed a plumber, I could call 3 plumbers and I'd have 5 people show up. Like here in Denver, that is not the case. If I call 5 plumbers, 3 won't answer the phone, 2 will call me back a day or 2 later, and 1 of them might actually show up. So be aware of your ability to, or your access or ability to contractors, to vendors, to have things fixed. So if you have that list of people ready to go, great. If you're handy and you want to do those things yourself, great. Self-manage is a good option. But if you don't, definitely consider hiring your property management out. And tenant screening is probably the biggest challenge, I would say, depending on the property type and the type of renter and potential issues you could have with the property and calls you would get. The tenant screening is the hardest part, by far. It's a lot to handle. It's a lot of communication back and forth, response times, reviewing paperwork, doing background screenings. That's the challenge. So a lot of property management companies, if you can handle everything else, a lot of property management companies will offer a tenant placement service as an a la carte option. A lot of times that's 1 month's rent with a minimum charge if you're in a lower rental area. But that might be a better way for you to cash flow on your rental. And you're like, hey, I don't care if someone calls me to come fix a fan that broke or something like that, but I just don't want to deal with a million phone calls and showing the property and doing background screens and credit checks and everything else. Cool. Then maybe hire a property management company to do a tenant placement screen. And that will help your numbers. So if you have your property professionally managed, and this totally depends on the market, your geographic market and what metro you're in and what those costs are, but usually your tenant placement fee is roughly 1 month's rent, roughly, really depends on the cost of the rental. And then if you have it fully professionally managed, which means they take the phone calls, they send the plumber out, they just send you the bill and say, hey, here's how much it was, and you have all of that done, then that's usually between 7 and 10% of your monthly rental income, whatever that monthly cost is, or the monthly rental cost, not your income, but the cost on that. So let's say your unit rents for $2,000 a month or something like that. You're going to be 7 to 10% of that is going to be your professional management expense. So look for property management companies that offer classes or can answer your questions. If you're not sure, call your realtor. So we love to get those questions when people are like, hey, I think I want to do this, but who should I call? I'm like, awesome. So here's my investor clients as far as who they've used for property management companies. Here were their experiences. I always ask for my investor clients to give me feedback on what their experiences are on the property management companies and those types of things. So that way I keep up to date. And, you can call them. Here's classes you can take. I'm going to 1 in a month. You're welcome to come with me, all that kind of stuff. So feel free to call your realtor and ask them, is there a company that they like or that they recommend or that they've heard good or bad things about? Ask, a lot of realtors have their own rentals. So a good realtor will have that information for you. Can definitely give you some recommendations and that kind of thing. So anyway, hopefully that answers your question a little bit more. If you're looking to buy or sell here in the Denver Metro, or maybe you're in this situation and you're like, hey, that sounds good, I would like some more time with you to kind of pick your brain and see if this makes sense. I want to go buy something else, but I kind of want to keep this. Call me. I love to do this. This is my bread and butter, and this is what I do every day. I do it for myself. I do it for my clients. So I'm in the Denver Metro. My contact information is on my website. Link for that is down below. So feel free to reach out to me. I would love to sit down with you and help however I can, even if it's just to answer some questions for you. If you're liking my videos, you can subscribe to my channel or boop the like button. I'd really appreciate that. That's cool. That helps other people find it when they need it. And yeah, leave comments down below if you have more questions about this. I'd be happy to shoot some follow-up videos. If you have specific questions, scenarios on tenants versus landlord, guys, that's by state. The laws are different in every state. I can't answer those. But if you just have questions on the concept or kind of how to get started or recommendations, please feel free to leave those down below as well. So thanks so much for the time and have a great day.